Hello, everyone. Thank you all for being here today to listen to my oral defense to my research work. Before I start on my topic, I'd like to thank Dr. Matthew Clausen for setting this all up with Bellevue University. Also, I'd like to thank the Bellevue University staff for setting this up for me. Anyway, my focus on my research paper is about the complex interdependence that exists between China and U.S. According to Dr. Keohan and Nate Jr., complex interdependence is best described in three characteristics: multiple channels connect society, hierarchy among issues, and the minor role of military forces. First, multiple channel connect society is best described as many multinational companies that branch off or travel to China for business, and many multinational company CEOs such as Nike CEO Mark Parker and other Nike CEOs before him, who has often visited China many times in the past 30 years because China's fast-growing market. And Parker isn't there just to sell sport products either. He is there also because he's committed in investing in producing sporting goods in China because of big demand for sporting goods from the Chinese population. The CEO of Citibanks in the Asia Pacific region also paid visit to Chinese company China Union Pay many times to develop new type of banking card system. And recently, China Union Pay and Citibank has signed a strategic cooperative agreement that helps to carry close cooperation in China, along with the Asian Pacific region and the world as a whole. China Union Pay will continue to help Citibank in terms of accelerating the merchant acceptance and card issuing business in the Asia Pacific region to increase the convenience of bank card usage. The multiple channel connect society were made possible today for foreign investors, to invest in China was due to Prime Minister of China, Deng Xiaoping's Chinese economic reform, which in Chinese literally means reform or open up, in the 1987. When Chinese market opened up, it freed the collective control of agriculture, opened up economically to allow foreign investment, and grant permission for entrepreneurs to start their own business. It also changed the privatization and contract out many of Chinese state-owned industry, and it loosed up the price control policy and regulation by the Chinese government. However, the state monopoly still remain in the banking and the oil sector. That's moving on to the second characteristic of complex interdependence, which is the absence of hierarchy among issues, is also another factor in China and U.S. economic relationship. The high tariff on Chinese imports were due to lack of definitive, distinctive, or strong international law on international trade from both sides. It's not serious enough of issue that will make U.S. and China to declare war at each other, but both U.S. and Chinese government has their side of the story to the tariff issue. While China accuses U.S. of a great act of trade protectionism, the USCR spokesperson argued that the high tariffs were taken precisely in accordance with the law and the international trade agreement. The last characteristic of complex interdependence describes the minor role of military forces. Again, I'm going to take works from Dr. Keohan and Nate Jr., who wrote in their book, good book by the way, Power and Interdependence, that describes the minor role of military forces is apparent today, because they wrote that the fear of attack in general has declined, and fear of attacks by one another are virtually non-existent among nations, and they continue to wrote that the force is often not an appropriate way of achieving goals because it will not help out in economic and ecological warfare. That's becoming more important today. And the use of military forces will only be deployed because of extreme cases such as a dramatic conflict or revolutionary change. But in China and U.S.'s case, even the military forces were to be deployed, it could be costly and uncertain for both sides. Also, there are many scholars fear that the increased economic and military power in China could cause regional and global stability or instability, because that China might become the pre-World War I Germany or World War II Germany and cause disruption in the international system. However, there are also scholars who disagree with that claim that China might become like Germany. Instead, that China just want to modernize their economic programs in this world of relative peace. Stu say that if anything, China probably wants to maintain a good relationship with the United States and the international community to help out its own internal development. In 1982, the new Chinese constitution contained an international interdependence thing, which stated that the future of China is closely linked with that of the world. And also, many scholars researched and found out China didn't replace USSR as a new global threat to U.S. interests or to the security of region in the world. And China also didn't construct a network of client states all around the world just to challenge the U.S. and Western interests. Last, I'd like to talk about the 9/11 attacks and the presence of a nuclear arm in both U.S. and China will decrease the tension between both countries. Those make Dr. Keohane and Nate Jr.'s argument sound that the military force is a small role in the alliance between U.S. and China. But what could be so drastic that could possibly ruin this prosperous economic relationship between China and U.S.? Something that's revolutionary. Well, the big thing is the Chinese political relationship with North Korea, or DPRK, due to DPRK's recent nuclear program. China is DPRK's ally because in the past, both shared socialist political ideology and the frustration of divided nation ideology. This helped both China and DPRK to strengthen their friendship, cooperation, and mutual assistance. And they will come to each other's aid if one's attacked. We don't know what will happen if these DPRK decide to fire a nuke against the US or against the world and the short-term ramification. But majority of nations are working through it, through the United Nations or the UN, from DPRK to stop them from developing nuclear weapon program. Let's talk about this. When DPRK conducted their first nuclear test on 9th October 2006, the UN has imposed numerous sanctions against the DPRK with the UN Resolution 1718, which prevent DPRK from trading goods or exporting goods. This resolution also imposed an acid freeze and travel ban on persons related to nuclear weapon program. Whatever imports DPRK receive, there will always be inspection to prevent large-scale armed nuclear technology and luxury goods to import into DPRK. But what is scary is that DPRK did not back down from the sanctions, and they continue to do nuclear weapon tests. And later, UN has to continue to put on harder sanction with the harder resolution 1874. But it didn't help since DPRK conducted one more test afterward recently. So the last part of my research work calls for a policy generation to admit the current policy. And if I could, I will admit the policy so that we don't impose sanctions on DPRK anymore. For DPRK is a less developed country compared to the rest of the world, and with sanction, it may cause bitter feeling for Kim's regime. And because Kim Jong-un wants his son to have a smooth transition and take over his position as a supreme leader. And I believe a better solution, a better way to stop DPRK from continuing to develop nuclear program is just to have a complete inspection and to send thousands of teams of scientists to go in, to dismantle, to destroy all weapon-grade nuclear program. I know that my alternative policy is vicious in nature, but against authoritarian country like DPRK, it is necessary because they don't respond well with sanctions anyway. Anyway, thank you all for listening to my oral defense. And if you guys have any questions, please email me. And my email is on the cover page of my research work, which you could pick up. you can pick it up on your way out, and we can chat and talk through emails. Again, thanks. Have a good day.